Sending data. Sending data. Online. Let's see if it's sending to Twitch. Is it sending to YouTube finally? My goodness, it's finally sending. Wow. Yeah. Hey, next time we do this, we are totally gonna. We will have all the technical aspects uh, together on this. But, like, so within your occupation right now, are you actually around people live?
No.
Okay, so in person, so you don't really have to see it. Um, I do see, you know, where what I'm doing right now. I see people constantly in public. Uh, Iowa doesn't have any laws to where the public has to wear masks in this in restaurants. So it's kind of
Mhm.
like I have to wear a mask, and I guess that does definitely help me out somewhat. But it would definitely be helpful if the guests were wearing masks too.
I mean, no, I think it's like real. It's hit or miss. Like I think that like for the service industry, I like okay, like I get it. The employees wear it. That's cool. I think that like as far as guests, like maybe while you're on the wait, but I think that once you're at your table,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
you should be allowed to take it off. But
Yeah,
also believe
yeah,
that
they're gonna lift their mask up, shove food in their
well,
mouth, and let it
yeah,
back
and then I
down. Like
also
that's not
think
gonna
that
work.
like the table should be like that 6 feet social
Hmm.
distancing rule too. Like I agree with that. I agree with that, but I'm definitely not going to dine out. And if so, they tell me that it's out an hour wait, and I just sit there, that I'm floating around maskless. Like
Yeah.
I'll go wait in my car to take it off.
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree. You know what? We all have to make little sacrifices. I mean, society is built
You know, it
around.
just hit me like a sack
It's
of bricks. Do you know when this thing is going to be fixed?
huh.
When winter comes and everyone puts their scarves over their faces. That's when it's going to be fixed.
It's gonna be fixed when there's a vaccine. To be honest with you, I think. I think it's just once there's a vaccine, this thing is gonna
No,
obviously and
I am predicting that it's going to be like SARS and just disappear.
all right, all right. But you know what? If it does, if it just does just disappear like that, you heard it here first. Kevin
I'm I'm
Laws.
I'm going for the SARS theory. It's just going to be like, wait, what happened to COVID-19? In the words of Kellyanne Conway, it's COVID-19. It's not COVID-1.
What? I never heard that one. No way. I
Oh, you
never
didn't
heard
hear
that one.
that? It
No.
was hilarious. Yes, absolutely. That was her logic and reasoning for whatever it was. It's not COVID. It's COVID-19. It's not COVID-1. Took
It,
me out.
it's just they had to give it a name. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's better than calling it the Kung Flu or the China virus,
oh my
which
gosh.
is just terrible.
You know what? Words, sticks and stones may break your bones. Words never hurt me. Yes, but no. Words do have power. Words have a lot of power.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, what you name something. Sometimes you have to reevaluate the words that you use. It's kind
Mhm.
of like the R word. The mentally handicapped R word or whatever.
Okay.
20 years ago, that was in my vocabulary when being insulting somebody. You know what I'm saying? I had
Mhm.
to reevaluate that as more information and as I've grown as a human being to realize that that's not a word I want in my vocabulary.
Right.
And I think that there's certain other words like the Redskins thing finally going away. Like how you did hear that, right?
Yeah, that they're changing the name.
And the thing is, here's this is something else I want your opinion on. Do you think some of these like corporations and big companies doing things like getting rid of past episodes that maybe were sketchy, changing names of stuff? Do you think that's their kind of way of saying maybe this would be enough, and then we don't have to actually make real changes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's a total facade because it's like they're like, oh well, we're gonna change this name, delete this, cross out through that to appease the masses and now only have the smaller people mad at us, but we can still say, hey, guess what? We're doing these other things. Like all these companies now doing all this diversity and inclusion training. Like, there's no training that you can go through that tells you how not to be a racist.
Hmm.
Like that's no such thing. And there was an article I was reading, I forgot where, but they literally looked at like all the executives from like a bunch of Fortune 500 companies, and all of the minorities were diversion and inclusion like presidents. And it's just like, wait, what? Like, are you serious?
I mean, there's things that you could do to help people get better with empathy, getting better with being able to look at things through the eyes of people with different life experiences. There are certain
Mhm.
things you could do that, but the specifics, like specific systems to get people to not be racist or not, or whatever, isn't going to work. Just like one of the things I've been working on the last 6 months is finding the core issues as to where my depression and anxiety comes from, not trying to work on specific systems to try to cover those up, but find the core of where that is. And I
Yeah,
think,
yeah, of course you have to look at the root cause and figure out what the catalyst is. And with things when there's bigotry and ignorance, it's already known that those are learned behaviors. Like, you have children, you teach your children how to be a good person, and children often emulate their parents. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So, like, those things are learned behaviors.
when there's other learned behaviors. So one of the things that I kind of wanted to run by you, you know what the Lotus of Control is? Internal versus external Lotus of Control.
I do not.
Okay, so it's the uh, whether it's good or bad in your life. Do you think that that's because of the things you've done, or is it outside influences? So somebody that has an internal locus of control, if something good happens, they think it's because of my hard work. If something bad happens, it's because of the mistakes that they made. People with the external uh, think that good or bad, it was the government or it was this or that. Now, the one of the problems is that there's people on one side that say individual responsibility and you're in control of everything, and those people don't at the same time want to help develop the skills of people to have an internal locus of control, to create an environment to where they see their mothers going to work and making something of their lives, as opposed to their mother working two jobs, uh, still not making enough money, and being too dead tired to really spend any time to raise them. And so, in
Hmm.
that instance, they're learning an external locus of control. They're learning that success has nothing to do with what they do. It's the system that's keeping them from being able to be successful. So, in a lot of ways, if we're going to solve a lot of problems in this country, in my opinion, we need to have the system work for everybody to where more people feel like they have control over their own successes.
I mean, I I get it. I get it from like a success standpoint. Like, we need to reevaluate and redevelop what the definition of success is. The system tells you one thing, but the system also is structured to allow you to fail. Not everyone is afforded the same and equal opportunities.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So a lot of people have to work twice as hard to get where something that could have just been handed or given to someone else. And it's you could count multiple things that creates a system of failure. Example, like the 40-hour, 5-day a week work week for the average American. Single mothers don't get to spend any time with their children.
Hmm.
If you look at a metropolis and they work a 9 to 5, they're dropping their kid off at daycare at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. to wait in traffic for an hour, leave work at 5, get to their kid at 6 p.m., get home at 7 p.m. It's dinner and bedtime.
Yep.
Like, how are you raising that child? You think you can raise a child in just 2 days?
And the kid is learning throughout the entire time period that
That this is normal.
that this is normal. That it's normal to grind your whole life and spend all your time working,
A
just to be
really
able
good.
to pay
It's
the
funny
bills.
that it's funny that this came up because I was actually just speaking to a really good friend of mine, and we were talking about careers and career changes. And she said she remembered when her son was 5 and her aunt was like her daycare provider. She said her hours were so long and so crazy. And she picked up her son once, and her son asked her, "Do I live with Auntie XYZ?" And she said, in that moment, she was like, "I have to change careers.
Hmm.
I need more time with my child."
It shouldn't be a thing. Like literally, jobs should not require people to excel and get ahead of them. Jobs should not require people to sacrifice family times. And
Right.
you know, do what's funny is because I was gonna bring this up. I always say our grandparents didn't have to go through this, but it's not fair to say that because a lot of people, a lot of people in the minority community, when they talk about their grandparents were going through different shit than what my grandparents were. But
Hmm.
for a lot of us, the example that was set by our grandparents, like I guess on you know as a white person, is that they work during the week, and on the weekend they're fishing or they're doing whatever the heck they want to, and they're spending leisure time. And now if somebody is trying to take care of their family and they have leisure time, they're made to feel bad about it because they must not love their parents because they're not doing enough to provide for them.
Right. Absolutely. The biggest lesson I got from my grandparents, well, my grandmother, she's still kicking,
Nice, nice,
but
nice.
it was like the biggest lesson was just love everybody. Love everybody. Like that
I
woman
agree.
she has no hate in her heart. She is by far the most progressive 80-year-old I've ever come across. And I'm like, how'd you do it? And like she just looks at me and she goes, "We're all God's children." And that's all she says. And
Hmm.
I'm just like, okay, all right. Like I'm not religious, but I get it. Like I get it, lady. I get it. And like just no hate at all. Even like if you like you think 80 years you've seen a lot. You lived through Jim Crow and segregation, and it's just like you have no malice. And she's like, none.
And that's goals for me, is to get to the point where I
I get
just
mad when people cut me off at a stop sign.
you do. Or it, you know what? That's one thing I've been working on is trying to look through the eyes of the other person. So if somebody's going too slow in front of me, what is it in their life is the reason. There might be some really important reason why they're going slower. If somebody cuts me off, there could be a very good reason, and I try not to get upset at those things. It's tough though, man. Like
No, when I'm driving, I'm on a mission. I'm yelling go. I'm swerving lanes. Like I will not lie about that. I am like I'm not road rage to where I'm stopping my car to get out and curse you,
mhm.
curse you. But I'm just like, dude, like put let's go. Like, come on. Like, everyone else is moving. Like, yeah, the speed limit says 60, but if people are constantly flying by you, get the memo.
See, over the last couple years, though, I've really slowed down on a lot of things, and so I just I've gotten to the point, at least on that, or that doesn't just doesn't bother me. I take
No,
my time to get where I'm gonna go, and
drives me crazy. Drives me bananas.
but
You go with the flow of traffic. You go with the
yeah,
flow of traffic.
yeah, but
Especially if you're in the left lane,
oh, yeah,
like
I agree with that.
I live in a big city. If you're in a left lane and you're doing 50, I'm angry.
Yeah,
I am angry.
but and I agree with that. But you said go with the flow of traffic. Unfortunately, if you look at traffic in a bigger sense, the flow of traffic right now is everybody is in a hurry to get to the next spot where they ain't gonna do shit, and then they hurry
Hmm.
up with what they're doing to get to and hurry to the next spot that doesn't really matter. And
You know,
that's one of the problems we have right now. Everybody's in a hurry to finish what they're doing so they could go on to the next thing, and nobody enjoys anything.
last year I went to go see my parents down in Florida, and they live in like, it's Florida. The age demographic is a little bit different. And my mom was driving, and like she's trying to like make a right turn onto the street, and I'm seeing all these openings, and I'm like, "Mama, go!" And she just goes, "I'm not in a rush." And I was like, "Oh," and sure enough, everyone there is just moseying along, and I'm like, "I can't." this.
That's the life I want to live, though, man. Like
No,
it's I think.
no, no. Keep it. Keep it. Keep it. Keep it.
You know what though? That's your like your mentality is go 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 go. And I used to be like that too. And I think that's why I've developed alcohol problems and stuff like that. It's
Like
just
I'm officially midlife. I got things to do before this clock ticks. You know, the
oh,
countdown has started.
Kevin, you're gonna live forever. You don't need to worry about it.
What? Oh, do you know where I can find like a vampirism? Like, is that a thing?
I just assume you already were one.
Oh,
I mean, I can't remember the last time I
don't
saw
tell all
you
the
eat garlic.
secrets.
Huh?
No,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, love garlic. Don't get me
Yeah. All right.
started.
All right. All right. All right. So maybe that's not the case.
Don't get me started. And don't drive with me. Lesson learned.
Um, so here's another question I have for you: is as first of all, what is your view on the whole Black Lives Matter movement? Like, what's your yeah? I know that, but as far as what steps need to be taken to get us to a better place in this?
You know, right now, what we're seeing with Black Lives Matter is that Black Lives Matter is the largest civil rights movement in the history of the United
Hmm.
States. If you look at the number of people protesting in all the cities that we are protesting, it's never been done on this scale before. And what we're also seeing is that the government and these elected officials are doing things to superficially try to appease the people
Hmm.
and to appease the masses. But that's not what it is. You can remove a monument. You can change the name of a military base. But what are you doing to actually make the United States an equal playground for people of, you know, not just color, but all nationality or all ethnicities and ethnic backgrounds? Like, it has to be a fair playing ground. Like, it's damaging and disturbing when me being an African American, you equate that, some people equate that to me being a thug or a hoodlum, whatever. And then if you call the police, it instantly becomes a weapon, you know? So
Hmm.
it's like, how how is that a thing? How how is that? Why are black and brown people disproportionately dying at the hands of police? And the only argument that some can come up with is, well, what about black on black crime? There's no such thing as black on black crime. Crime is crime.
Yeah.
Crime is crime.
And you know
So
what? And if people think that the black community isn't talking about that and isn't trying their best to do something about that, like crime within their community, they're
absolutely.
they are absolutely trying to do that. But you know what? We also know that socioeconomic status is the number one indicator of whether somebody ends up committing crimes as an adult. Like the
Hmm.
socioeconomic status of somebody. Of somebody's mother, I should say. So we
No,
gotta
it's
we gotta do better about creating a system where it
not
works
only
for
that, but if
everybody.
you absolutely, and when you look at it, and you look at all these numbers, and you can sit there and you can say, well, minority communities have the highest number of arrests. Mm, okay, that's fine. Do you know why they have the highest number of arrests? Because they're police the highest.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure that if you send equal amount of police force into non-minority communities that are actively looking for crimes like they do in minority communities, and planting drugs and guns like they do in minority communities, the numbers would be staggering. Like, there was a research done that white suburban college kids smoke twice as much marijuana than black kids, but black kids are arrested for it three times as
Yep.
much. It's because we're over policed. You automatically equate the inner city or the ghetto, whatever, and brown and black people with crime, which is, it's a disservice. And I see people saying all the time, what is Black Lives Matter doing with inside the community? You don't see the calls for community action, the community cleanup, the centers to get people into better ways and forms of life, and to get these kids off the streets and to help these parents be better parents. You don't see that because you don't want to see that.
And the thing is, that, first of all, like the fact that there's so many people that are in prison for pot use, I
Yes.
swear, 50 years from now, when we're telling our great grandkids and they're learning in high school that people used to go to prison for that, they're gonna be like, no way. It's just
Yeah.
not gonna make sense to them. Like literally, like
It's
that's
like telling your child now that people used to go to prison for being gay.
yeah. Like you would not think that that is even it's
And
something
it
that's
was a thing.
possible.
It was a thing.
Yeah.
1920s. It was a thing.
And I think a lot of in in a lot of urban areas, you look at a lot of the crime, and it's crimes of not hurting anybody else. Like it's literally
Mhm.
drug use. It's stuff like that the police don't need to be in everybody's business there. Uh,
Right.
you know,
And let me backtrack and say something else about Black Lives Matter, because I think it's a huge misconception, especially to those who don't fully understand it or want to understand it. Just because we say Black Lives Matter doesn't mean we're saying kill the police, kill everybody that's not black. Your life doesn't matter. We're saying we want to matter just as much. And just because, like, for example, just because I'm pro black doesn't mean I'm anti white. That that's not it, that's
I
not
feel
that.
better now. I
You should. That's not that.
yeah, no, I know.
That wouldn't make me human.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make me human at all. And it's disturbing. It's really disturbing that we have to, equate some sort of proness with an antiness. And that's not the thing.
Well, the problem is that people they hear a type of movement and they automatically think the absolute worst case scenario, or like they go all the way to the extreme on that, like the defund police. As soon as they started saying that, and personally, I think that's horribly named. That was a horribly named movement or idea. Because it's not
Hmm.
about getting rid of about the police. It's about taking some of that funding and putting
It's a
it into mental
budget
health
reallocation.
and yeah, reallocation to things that are actually help solve the issues,
Right.
and make it so that there's less people committing crimes, or in some cases take things and make them so they're not crimes that are being
No,
people are being arrested
absolutely.
for.
And with the defund the police budget reallocation, like I was saying earlier today, I was just like, let's say you have an autistic child.
Yep.
That autistic child decides to go through one of their breakdown moments. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
You call an emergency service because that's what you do. They're in a crisis. Would you rather have a cop show up, or would you rather have a medical professional show up?
Somebody
Police
knows
can't
how to deal
police
with
can't
that.
fix everything.
Yeah.
Police can't fix everything.
And it's
And
and in that situation, it's not necessarily the police's fault, the individual's fault that they don't know how to handle that situation. It's the system's
right,
fault for putting the wrong person in
on the
charge of
job.
that in that situation. You know,
Right. And we're developing and devoting billions and billions of dollars into these police departments, right? Like, for example, the city of Chicago, I believe, has like a $1.2 billion police budget. You know what I'm saying? We keep giving them this money, but yet there's no decrease in crime per se. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't you think that if we were overly funding the police, that crime would just be damn
hmm
near zero? Like if you give me $1 billion, I'm pretty sure I could get a bunch of things down to zero.
yeah,
But
exactly.
there's no direct correlation to crime rates dropping with higher police budgets.
But the thing is, I think it's just money to have, money to be able to spend the money, and that's it. And you look at something like drinking and driving.
And that's why they look like militaries.
Yeah. Does this country really want to solve the drinking and driving problem? No, because if they did, we would have better public transportation. And
Hmm.
we would have actual solutions to get drinking and driving to become not really a thing. But
Right.
instead, what we look at it, it's a revenue center. Picking people up for drinking and driving is a revenue center.
It is. It is. And the nation of Amsterdam, they literally legalized all drugs,
Hmm.
and they made like needles and sanitary things like easily accessible to like their version of Walgreens and some street pharmacies and
Hmm.
free places where you can pick it up. And I think that like their crime rate decreased by like something like 30%.
Hmm.
And then like their drug related deaths decreased by some like astronomical percent, like 60 or 65. Don't quote me on that because I don't have the figures in front of me. But it was huge. And I sat back and thought about it and I was like, I support that, you
Yep.
know? I was like, I absolutely support that. And one of the reasons I support it is like, oh yeah, drugs are bad for you, but guess what? Your body, your choice.
I mean, McDonald's is legal.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Cigarettes,
McDonald's kills a
tequila.
lot more people than heroin.
Hmm.
And it's still legal. So, and the thing is that my hope, if they did that, I would definitely not like it if drug use went up. Don't get me, if pot use went up, great. Who cares? I mean,
I honestly, I don't care.
yeah.
It has no direct effect on my life.
Hmm.
I I do not care, and that's the problem with Americans is that we are overly concerned with things that have no direct impact in our lives. For example, anyone that's anti LGBTQ plus, like when's the last time somebody said, "Oh, my property taxes went up because the gays next door got married"? Never, never. Stop.
I mean, they might have done some improvements on the house that kind of made the entire neighborhood's
I
property
mean,
taxes go up.
like if we get up in there, your neighborhood's about to be fly. Let us in there. The neighborhood's gonna be fly.
Oh, it's
Best
people.
grass on the block, let me tell you.
People. I think it's just the closed-mindedness that some people have an idea of the America they want to see, and
Hmm.
anything that threatens that, they just get angry about it. And there's part of me that wonders, man. I think that there's two different Americas people want to see, and they're butting heads right now.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. And if we look at what America's supposed to be, it's supposed to be a melting pot of religions, ethnicities, employers, employment, and diversity. And that's that's what the core of America is. And it's sad that there's people that don't see the root core of what America was meant to be.
I mean, if you look at our culture right now, it is literally a melting pot. There are
Yeah.
every single time that there's a new wave of immigration, whether it's Irish, Italian, Chinese, whatever the immigration was. There are parts of our culture that are our culture is a part has parts of that in it.
Hmm.
And so when people are worried about, oh, Sharia law is they're gonna try to put Sharia law in that type of stuff, like, no, but you know what?
You know, like
It
with coronavirus and everyone mysteriously hating the Chinese. You know, like coronavirus came out, we knew that it supposedly originated in China. All these neo patriots immediately started bashing China, but they had no problem shooting off their fireworks that were developed and created by the Chinese on the 4th of July.
yep.
Have fun with that.
Yeah, dude. It's everything we have is just is just
It's
from
borrowed.
someplace else. It like gets
It's
borrowed.
borrowed. That's what we do. That's what we do. Like, oh, you going out to dinner? Oh, they're gonna have pasta on the menu. Hey, thanks, Italy. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, have fun with that. You like sushi? Hey, Japan, come on over.
And next time you have a problem with Mexico, let's hey, no more Taco Bell, man. You gotta give that crap
No,
up.
hey, that ain't Mexican.
No, that's
That- that-
that's true. That's true.
we can keep that. That ain't Mexican.
I don't think that any of them would claim Taco Bell's food, but I'll tell you what, it's yeah, it's
I've never seen any of my Latino friends eat Taco Bell. And if I brought them some Taco Bell, they would probably like kill me and laugh at me.
throw your 5 layer burrito right back at you.
Pretty much like, what's a quesadilla, tortillas and cheese? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I think probably the way to solve a lot of things right now is, first of all, if you're in that 18 to 25 year range, 18 to 30 year range, and you were out during these protests, If you don't get out and vote in November, everything you did in those protests is for naught. Like,
Absolutely.
you need to get out. You have to understand.
And to voting, it's just not a presidential election. I encourage all people of voting age to look at congressional elections, to look at your local elections, because those elections are the elections that matter.
Yeah,
Those are the ones that do something.
not to say that the national ones aren't important. However, where a real change makes within the states is going to be the local,
Absolutely.
the statewide and local elections. But you know what?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of politicians out right there right now that are looking at the younger voters, and they're counting on you not showing up. They they
Mitch
they're
McConnell.
yep. They are not worried about you. They are laughing at you because with everything that just happened with the protests, they know, or at least in their hearts, in their minds, they know you are not going to show up in November, so they have nothing to worry about. So you need to get out there and prove them wrong.
Absolutely.
You know what? Whitney said it best. I believe the children are our future.
They are, and Gen Z is rocking it, and I'm really proud of them.
Oh, I
And
think the younger people,
they're
man.
they're the ones that are going to really bring the change that we all want to see.
And and I've said this before. When I run into the teenagers and the younger adults right now, they are polite.
Hmm.
They have this energy that's just different than people even my age. I mean, there's a lot of people my age that are angry
It's
people.
because they were raised by us. No, I'm joking. Partially, partially.
There's a lot of angry, close-minded people my age, and I am a lot of times very ashamed to be part of that group because they just don't. They're rude. They're. I love the meme. It's like 50-year-old white guy to younger people. Young people have no respect. Same 50-year-old white guy to a 19-year-old server. Your body's way too nice to be working here. That type of thing. It's like, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right, right.
there's an age range where there's so much disrespect for other people because freedom, and I can say whatever I want.
You
And
know
it's
that
horrible.
that is true. You have the right and the freedom of speech, but you do not have the freedom of consequence.
Exactly.
That wasn't given to you.
Like you said, be nice to people.
That's all it is.
That's all it is. When you meet
All it
somebody,
is.
don't think because they're working and you're the customer that means you get to treat them like crap. Don't
Hmm.
just everybody like you know notice people. Like when you're out and about, don't be so in your head or into your social media that you're not noticing that there's other people around you. They are actually people. They're not NPCs in a video game that you're the main character of.
That's true.
And
So true.
I think a lot of, and I've done it, I've been guilty of it to where I go throughout my entire day and I'm on my quest, my side quest or regular quest, and everybody I come across in some ways is just this non-important NPC that doesn't have any, doesn't have a real life. They're just there to be part of this day that I have, and it's the wrong way to look at it. They all have their own hopes and their dreams and life experiences, and we need to be
Hmm.
open to listening to people with different. That's another thing I've been really thinking about. People have different life experiences that lead to them having different views on things, and we need to be open to listening to those life experiences. Uh,
You can learn from them.
you can learn from them, even if in the end you're like, dude, you need to change the way you think because you're a hateful, awful person. But you can at least, in some ways, understand what got them there.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you 1000%. Everyone we encounter is a story, and we have no idea how that person's story could affect us.
And if we can avoid being the bad guy, the villain in their story, I mean, unless
Do
if
it.
unless if you need to, unless if you need to, like
Ah,
you
like
know,
I'm the villain on the expressway. Let me tell you.
Yes, you are. Slow down a little, Kevin. I know you won't listen to me on that.
No, no, mm-mm,
I,
no.
I made a video about this the other day, and one thing I've been trying to remember to do is on the way to work, is I try to notice one thing that I've never noticed before. And I found that like there's this business on the way to work. I go by there 5 days a week or whatever. I never noticed it was there. Like I slowed down my mind enough, got out of my head enough to look out there and be like, holy crap, that's been there the whole time.
Maybe it just popped up and you just noticed it.
No, no, I purposely had decided that day that I was going to just try to notice something different. Just try to, not have my mind in music or an audio book or whatever, but to be in the moment.
Hmm.
And kind of almost not really meditating, but kind of just relaxing myself enough to be able to notice something. And I was like, holy crap, how did I not notice that business was there? It's because
Right.
my eyes aren't open. Tunnel vision.
And this is the time where we need everyone's eyes to be open.
Yeah, we do, man. We need things solved. We need to stop acting like everything's fine. And okay, but at the same time, we also need to be able to be grateful for the things that are fine in our lives. We do need to be happy about those things, but also have our eyes open for the things that need to change.
Correct. That's true. That's absolutely true. Man, that is true. That is true.
You know what I will say I felt like this we picked up a lot of steam in the last half of what we just did there.
We did. It was a great engagement, great conversation. I feel like we both made our points.
I think next time we do this, maybe we try to bring another person on. Maybe try to get three, and then kind of see where it goes there. Just kind of
Oh, okay.
you know. I think if you get too many, then it becomes no points really get made or anything like that. But I think if you get,
A panel is always good.
yep,
A panel is always good. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, but
I'm with it.
yeah, I think this was a lot of fun, and we just have to actually come up with a name for
Hey,
the show.
it's your show. I just pop up in it from time to time.
This
Uh,
this this has been a lot of fun. Anything else you want to say?
yeah, I actually want to say that if anybody is watching or listening, feel free to check out thehoodieshop.com, and that's shoppe.com. We're also on Instagram at the hoodie shop, shoppe. Thanks.
Yeah, Kevin will actually send me a message with that links to that, and that will be in the description of the video.
Hey, yeah, I'm all about shameless plugs.
Well, you know what, and that's another thing. So next time we do this too, within the video or whatever, I want to have overlays when I get this figured out that will have that on the screen, so it'll have your your info, whether it's like a couple different links or whatever for them to go
Kevin
to.
Law, CEO, the hoodie shop.
CEO, President and CEO, Kevin Laws.
Absolutely. You knew I was a boss at 20. Get serious.
Exactly, exactly. But I think that's all I got. Yeah, send me that info. I'll get that in the descriptor of the video, and
Okay.
we'll talk about. We'll figure out what our next time we're gonna do this is. But had fun.
All right, cool. And I'll get with you within the next coming days. Thank you for having
All right, and thank you very much for being on, everybody. Kevin Laws.
me. Y'all enjoy the